part of the attraction of motor racing, both for the drivers and the spectators, is the sheer exhilaration of driving fast. Today, these cars are being tested at speeds well in excess of 150 miles an hour. The engines, wheels and bodywork are all checked to ensure that those high speeds can be achieved in safe conditions. Of course, on the relative safety of a test track, many of the dangers of high-speed driving can be minimized. But out on the public roads, speed kills. And yet an extraordinary number of drivers, including those in our next sequence, remain determined to drive too fast, despite the well-publicized dangers. Police officers were alerted to this grey Sierra Cosworth after it aggressively undertook an unmarked camera car on the M11 northbound in Essex. The officers followed the car, which was driving aggressively between the traffic. As the Sierra began to gather speed, the officers realized that the driver was in fact racing with a Mercedes sports car, seen here overtaking in the outside lane. Over 100 miles an hour, and as the police car tries to overtake the speeding Sierra, the driver obstinately refuses to let it pass, unaware of who's inside or that his every move is being recorded on camera.
Oscar Juliet 1-1 active. Yeah, behind Cosworth Sierra and a Mercedes Sports M11 northbound, just passing the workshop.
Undaunted, the Sierra accelerates away in one last bid to catch the Mercedes sports car ahead. By now, the police officers had seen enough. Both the driver of the Sierra Cosworth and the driver of the Mercedes Sport, seen here in the middle lane, were convicted for speeding and dangerous driving. This police car in Hampshire was on routine patrol along the M3 when it was dramatically overtaken by a speeding motorcyclist. As the officers set off in pursuit, keep your eye on the speedometer in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. When the police convict motorists for speeding, the extent of the fine and the length of any ban is determined by a number of factors, including any outstanding endorsements, the relevant road conditions, and the motorist's top speed. In this instance, almost 140 miles an hour. As the motorbike slows down to leave the motorway, officers are amazed to discover that he's carrying a passenger, adding to the danger and guaranteeing a heavy fine and suspension of his license. Now, this motorcyclist in Dorset put on quite a show for the camera. Riding no-handed and drumming on the fuel tank, at least the rider slows it right down as he approaches the traffic lights. But then, from dead slow to full ahead, the motorbike speeds and swerves through this 30-mile-an-hour stretch of road at over 60. That's twice the legal limit. In fact, the only sensible thing the rider did was to slow down and pull in when he realized that the police wanted a word.
Britain is a car-crazy society. There are more than 25 million vehicles in the United Kingdom, and believe it or not, the growth in car ownership is going faster than the growth in the population. Mobility should mean freedom, but with busy and crowded roads, even the simplest of journeys can become a stressful and frustrating experience.
Nobody likes a queue jumper, especially not the police, who take a very dim view of manoeuvres like these.
Panning across Volvo on the offside, just come down the outside of 2 lanes of traffic, despite the fact there's no traffic there.
And he's turned the wrong side of the bollard. We'll have him.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah. I can get out.
The driver of this car was a mother running late, getting her children to school. But no matter how much of a hurry you're in, reckless driving like this is both discourteous and dangerous.
Ooh, went the crowd. Now, what's the red one going to do?
The red one,
Red one's turned round. Can we see it? There's a lorry towards.
The impatient driver of the red car decides he's had enough of this motorway tailback and decides to leave the carriageway the wrong way up a slip road.
Straight towards someone not flashing his headlights.
This moment of madness is beyond belief, as the blue van uses a coned-off area of the dual carriageway to undertake a slow-moving vehicle in front. It's a fine line between impatient actions such as these and dangerous or intimidating driving, which the police believe to be on the increase.
Now quite an aggressive manner of driving. He's quite close to another car, doing the near side overtake.
What I'm seeing here.
Yeah, it's very poor driving. This I've seen enough, but we'll stop this vehicle.
Incidents of tailgating have been featured before on police camera action, and it remains one of the most deadly forms of dangerous driving, particularly in motorway traffic, where speeds are higher and braking distance more critical. These dueling roadsters were filmed by Strathclyde police, who successfully prosecuted both of them for dangerous driving.
Gosh, that was close, wasn't it?
This is what the police call a blue light run for fairly obvious reasons. Now, if you're in a police car, that's one thing. But if you're out on the road, minding your own business and driving at the proper speed, it can be quite an unsettling experience. Some drivers just freeze and stop in the middle of the road, thus forcing the police cars to drive round them. Others panic and actually swerve in front of the police car. To make their job easier, the thing to do is to read the road conditions, find somewhere safe to pull over and stop, thus allowing the emergency vehicles to pass through. Now, the blue car did it just right, saw a lay-by there, indicated and pulled over out of the way. The white van almost certainly thought that he'd got it right because he indicated, but he pulled over just beside a Belisha beacon and on the brow of a hill. Classically wrong on 3 counts.
Unfortunately, it's not just other motorists who pose problems on the road. Irresponsible pedestrians are as much, if not more, of a liability. The young man on the left spots the lights changing and thinks he can make this phase of the Pelican crossing. But at least he learned his lesson. Shaken and slightly stirred, the young man tries again, and this time gets it spot on. Even the quietest country roads can throw up a few surprises. The consequences, had it been a speeding motorist, don't even bear thinking about. This patrol car had a similar surprise in store. Now, we're all used to cat's eyes in the middle of the road, but cow's bottoms?
Yeah, YK, Tango Mike 10, I'm right behind these cattle. I'm doing a walking pace down lane 1. They've got the number 67 and the number 13 tattooed on their buttocks. I don't know who they belong to, you may be able to find out.
The carriageway was closed and the cows were walked back to a grateful farmer, who was later prosecuted for inadequate fencing.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
That's better. That's deadly.
Don't waste hundreds of pounds on expensive carpet. Simply buy 2 small pieces, attach them to the bottom of your feet, and get that quality carpet feel throughout your home. This money-saving tip was brought to you by McDonald's, where a Big Mac, medium fries, and a medium soft drink will cost you just £2.88.
He's just printed his latest design. He can, you can, Canon Printers can.
There is a pure Anchor butter that spreads straight from the fridge. Rich and creamy, Anchor spreadable butter.
For the paper that goes with the border, that goes with the curtains, the paint, the lamp, and the vase, that go with your ideas, go to Homestyle. Homestyle. It's easy when you know who.
Now Orbit is even more refreshing, even cooler, even fresher. Sugar-free Orbit, now even more refreshing.
Time to exchange insurance details, I think. But there's no serious damage done. In fact, this is the place to make mistakes, because here at the Legoland Driving School, these youngsters are being introduced to the basics of road sense, including a special video on the highway code before they go on to take their licenses.
So, well done, everybody.
Unleashed onto the roads for the first time, it's hardly surprising that accidents happen. And when it comes to real road use, it is of course the inexperienced motorist who's the most vulnerable. For example, a 17-year-old is, on average, 7 times more likely to have an accident than a more experienced driver. And that lack of experience means that the new driver can be as much as 2 seconds slower in responding to danger than an experienced motorist.
The learner driver in the white van recklessly overtakes on a blind humpback bridge. This young driver had just passed his test and was eager to pass the white trailer in front. Travelling too fast and braking too hard in wet conditions meant this driver had a narrow escape. Everyone is prone to moments of distraction. As these police officers work at the roadside, keep your eyes on the traffic on the right. Even the slightest loss of concentration can end in disaster.
Down to him. I'm wondering if that's on tape.
Police officers too must have their wits about them. This Dorset patrol car was hit by a stray golf ball from the local course. To police forces throughout the UK, this is an all too familiar scene. Dealing with high-speed pursuits has become part of police business, and the aim has always been to end the pursuit as safely and swiftly as possible. Thanks to a new tactical approach, the police can now protect other road users, members of the public, and even the rogue drivers themselves. Amazing as it may seem, the rider of this motorbike lived to ride another day. In this police training pursuit, I'm driving the blue car in front.
A Ford Escort failing to stop. When the police do stop a pursuit like this, they don't do so at any cost. The conclusion must be executed safely, with the minimum danger and damage. It's all about putting control back in the hands of the police. Now left, 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 Fleet Road.
Well, with 4 flat tyres, I wasn't going to get much further. But at no stage was I in danger of losing control of the vehicle. The Stinger is a spiked trellis, which is thrown in the path of the runaway car. And because the spikes are made of hollow stainless steel, the tyres puncture quickly, but not so violently as to mean that the car would go out of control. Instead, the car is brought to a crawl from 100 miles an hour to 15 miles an hour in just 6 seconds. Combined with the skills of specially trained police drivers, the Stinger will bring a swift end to the most dangerous driving.
Well, we've got the photo line that we saw.
In this example, this Humberside patrol car is responding to reports of a pursuit involving a stolen car.
We're trying to get in front of it if we can regarding deploying the Stinger.
Following radio directions from the pursuit vehicle, the officers can anticipate the route of the stolen vehicle and set the ambush to deploy the Stinger.
9, we're at Willoughby Square, Willoughby Square.
Just give us this Stinger.
He's here now. 1026 deployed, Willoughby Square.
The Stinger is instantly retracted to allow the police vehicles through, and the pursuit continues, but not for much longer.
It's a crash off World Road over. We have runners into the school.
The effectiveness of Stinger is highlighted by the tangled results of driving a car with 4 punctured tyres. Thames Valley Air Support Unit filmed this pursuit on their thermal imaging helicam. Notice how the police try to shepherd the target vehicle in the direction of the waiting Stinger, which appears as a flash of white heat across the road.
3108.
Yeah, 3108, Marple Road towards Offerton.
Yeah, towards Marple Road, towards Offerton. Marple Road towards Offerton, 1744.
Notice also the immediate deceleration of the target vehicle as the tyres puncture, allowing the police cars to close in and make a speedy arrest.
Yeah, roger.
But the stinger isn't always the solution for a safe and successful pursuit. An element of surprise and almost total control of the traffic is required, neither of which are possible on narrow, crowded streets, especially at peak hours. In this incident from the Lancashire police force, a pair of armed robbers are being pursued through Preston. 45 minutes earlier, they'd held up a Securicor van at a Tesco's in Blackpool. Armed response vehicles are now in pursuit, with a police helicopter capturing every moment on camera.
That's showing out the vehicle now left onto Garstang Road and from the duty officer not to stop the vehicle.
Vehicle is driving at speed now, it's going to the traffic lights with Wrigley Street Road. It's straight to the traffic lights at Wrigley Street Road. It's only A6 Garstang Road now. It's going for the overtake. Just collided with one. We're still blocked the lane. We're approaching the traffic light junction with the Sherry Green Lane and Blackpool Lane. The lights are on red. He's now going on the outside lane. The outside junction, the opposite junction is going straight on. Repeat, straight on A6 north now.
Approaching the traffic.
Going to the left. I'm not too sure of the road, but it's going to be a dead end, I think.
The vehicle having turned left again, possible dead end. Roger, the vehicle left again, possible dead end.
Vehicle's now turned right off both sides. It is a dead end. Repeat, dead end.
The vehicle in a dead end, Roger. The person's now abandoning the vehicle. Two persons out of the vehicle, Roger.
Officers quickly arrest one of the robbers, whilst his accomplice escapes on foot into a nearby housing estate.
We want to send it into Ashford Road, PD. Ashford Road. White male, yellow top, blue jeans.
Two suspects having left the vehicle, one into a housing estate wearing a yellow top and blue jeans, Roger.
He's in the bungalow, PD. White male going over a fence, blue jeans, yellow top. We need a Delta Zulu. Delta Zulu. I've lost visual with him. He's in a house with a white car on the drive. Policeman, channel 89, please. We need policeman on channel 89. Yes, PD, he's a white male.
Having pinpointed the robber's hiding place, the helicopter searches for any telltale heat sources on its thermal imaging camera.
At the rear, on the drive, there's a vehicle, a white hatchback on the drive.
Minutes later, the robber was found hiding in a dustbin and was quickly taken into custody. Both men pleaded guilty to the charges brought against them and are currently serving 10-year sentences for armed robbery. Most car owners have a love-hate relationship with garages and dread the annual MOT test. But the reality is that they rely on this test alone to check on the safety of their car. So it comes as quite a shock when the car fails. In this case, for rusty bodywork, threadbare tyres, a faulty indicator and a broken headlamp. What's worse, because the MOT is an annual test, the owner could have been running around in an unroadworthy vehicle for several months. It's all too easy to go from one year to the next without really thinking about the safety of your car. But this head-in-the-sand attitude can, at the end of the day, prove more costly and more dangerous, both for you and other road users, as these drivers could so easily have discovered.
Yeah.
Metropolitan police officers noticed something odd about this blue Renault and pulled it over for a closer look. They were appalled by what they discovered. The owner of this car received a heavy fine and no doubt a hefty repair bill for his bald tyres, the faulty wheel axle, and of course, a broken handbrake. No wonder he looked so sheepish. The owner of this motorbike had paid over £10,000 for his top-of-the-range model, but had spent less than 10 seconds thinking about maintenance and repairs. Overloading vehicles can be equally dangerous, particularly when it's not designed for the job in hand. Even custom-made vehicles can become unroadworthy when they're badly loaded. This glazier's van was listing dangerously to the left. Strathclyde police were examining this when this happened. And the owner of this white van clearly had more than a few screws loose.
You can now see that that is the only means that was holding the doors in place.
And finally, the end of a hard day, and it's standing room only on the long road home.
And there'll be more highway hijinks caught on camera in police camera action next Monday at the same time. Next tonight on HTV, the conclusion of Prime Suspect 5.
Beware the